người có thể chia sẻ cái cảm xúc của mình về hành trình viết của mọi người cho đến thời điểm bây giờ qua được không chat được không ạ? Mọi người có thể viết những cái dòng chia sẻ ngắn thì sẽ cùng trò chuyện với nhau một chút xíu nhé. Bây giờ mình sẽ có thể gọi là nếu mà có thể mô tả bằng một từ thì mọi người cũng có thể chia sẻ về hành trình viết của mọi người cho đến thời điểm bây giờ. Xem là nó đã thú vị như thế nào này. Và có những câu chuyện gì qua không chat được không ạ? Em cảm ơn. Và để có thể tiếp tục theo thời gian chương trình thì em cũng xin phép mọi người là mọi người cứ hãy viết tiếp cái phần chia sẻ của mình vào trong chat và em cũng sẽ tiếp tục cả là phần chia sẻ của Casey Định luôn ạ. Thì đối với em thì cái từ của em là từ hào hứng, tại vì thực sự là em rất hào hứng khi được nhìn được những cái bài viết vô cùng thú vị của các bạn này, của mọi người trong workshop ngày hôm nay, như là của những thí sinh sắp tới. Đặc biệt hơn là em cũng rất là hào hứng khi mà có thể được gọi là truyền tải những cái thông điệp vô cùng ý nghĩa của Legacy Nghề Ninh đó. Và thông qua cái chia sẻ vừa rồi thì em cũng xin phép được giới thiệu lại với mọi người về một lần nữa với mục tiêu cũng như là tầm nhìn của di sản nét mực. Thì di sản nét mực của chúng em là một cuộc thi về viết toàn cầu cho người trẻ của Việt Nam. This Legacy in Ink, the Vietnamese Writer Global Contest. Là đây là một chương trình như là một cuộc thi do tạp chí The Pen Log cũng như là nhà xuất bản thế giới, cũng như là Đài Tiếng nói Việt Nam VOV6 cũng như là truyền hình kỹ thuật số HITV cùng tổ chức ITV đó, và chính thức phát động vào năm 2025. Với chủ đề của chúng ta là Legacy bản sắc của chúng ta, thì Legacy Inc. mong muốn là sẽ tôn vinh được văn hóa cũng như lịch sử của Việt Nam, không đơn thuần chỉ là người Việt trên toàn thế giới mà còn là những người yêu mến văn hóa Việt Nam. Qua sự sáng tạo này từ bên trong của chúng ta cũng chính là nhịp cầu nối giữa quá khứ này và những cái giá trị tương lai, những truyền thống và những thứ hiện đại. Và qua đó có những góc nhìn mới mẻ đó thì chúng ta sẽ không chỉ là giao lưu mà còn có thể thổi hồn vào những di sản văn hóa và viết tiếp câu chuyện Việt chúng ta sống mãi trong dòng chảy của lịch sử. Và đến với ngày hôm nay thì chào mừng mọi người đến với buổi hội thảo cùng với chuyên gia trong chuỗi Legacy in Grading Series. Ngày hôm nay chúng ta sẽ cùng đồng hành với đại diện của tổ chức, của cộng đồng văn học Việt Nam, cộng đồng văn học quốc tế, em xin lỗi, Grading Through, và đại diện đến từ Grading Through của Christine, để mình sẽ để cô tự giới thiệu về chương trình cũng như là tổ chức Grading Through nhé. Và để mọi người không đợi lâu hơn nữa, để mọi người có thể trực tiếp là sẽ đi vào cái buổi hội thảo cũng như là buổi workshop ngày hôm nay, thì một lần nữa em cũng có thể xin phép mọi người là hãy bật cam lên, hãy tương tác và thực sự rất là mở lòng chia sẻ những cái cảm xúc của mình, những cái chia sẻ cũng như là những cái suy nghĩ của mình, những cái câu hỏi vấn đáp mà mình thực sự muốn chia sẻ với cô. Vì thực sự là buổi hôm nay workshop thì rất là ít người, và thực sự là những cái chia sẻ của mọi người nó sẽ góp phần tạo nên cái buổi workshop nó có cái chiều sâu hơn, nó có nhiều những góc nhìn mới hơn, không chỉ là cho chính bản thân chúng ta cũng như là những cái người tham gia xung quanh, mà cũng có thể giúp sẽ nhờ được cái sự giúp đỡ cũng như là sự hỗ trợ của mọi người xung quanh chúng ta để có nhiều góc nhìn mới hơn này về chương trình cũng như là về cái phần kiến thức của chúng ta nhé. Thế nên là mọi người hãy có thể đặt những cái góc nhìn mới này, đặt câu hỏi, kết nối với nhau để có những buổi workshop thật là ý nghĩa nhé. Cảm ơn mọi người, và now I would like to hand back the workshop to Miss Christine. Welcome, please welcome Miss Christine, please.
Sorry, I was just typing in my word. Hi, everyone. My name is Kristen. You don't have to call me Miss Schuster. Please call me Kristen. Xin chào. I'm sorry, I don't speak very much Vietnamese. I lived in Hanoi for 4 months, but I could not get the tones. It did not work for me. I tried, but Vietnamese is amazing, and you're much smarter than I am. So I am originally from Canada, but I live in Cambodia, in Siem Reap, so not too far from you. And I work for Writing Through. I'm the deputy director, and what Writing Through does is we teach creative writing, but we use creative writing as a tool to teach thinking skills, language fluency, and self-esteem. So when you come out of here, you're not going to come out with a lot of techniques for writing poems of different sorts. Really, what our job is to try to help you to open your minds, to think in new ways, to push yourself out of your comfort zone, and to write something really incredible. Okay, so sorry, I'm reading the chat as we're going, so that's why I'm a little bit distracted. Can everyone understand me? Am I speaking too slow, too quickly? No, it's okay.
Things going
All
good,
right.
Miss.
Okay, I'll always check in because I know that English is your second language, but I've also worked with enough young Vietnamese students to know that you're probably all incredible. But if ever there's something you don't understand, please let me know. I'm sure someone on the team can help to translate, or I can slow down and speak in a more simple way. That's no problem. Okay, so with that, let's take a moment because I've told you who I am. I want to know more about who the participants are in this workshop. So let's go around, and if everyone can please introduce yourself, tell me your name, how old you are, and where are you? Okay, so just a quick introduction, just to loosen everybody up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to butcher it, but Tan Hung, could you start, please?
Okay, so I am a okay. I will start with like a sort of simple introduction, then I will get to like my personal sort of anecdote. So I am just a year 12 student. I'm really ambitious in writing. I'm really ambitious in stories because what story meant to me, it was like a very interesting way of people conveying themselves. And also, I wanted to have the messages in my stories to be spread out to a lot of other people because I believe that the power of stories is very important for us as society and also for us as like a personal human being. And I love to just like write and also have different stories of many other different people as well, just to convey through words, and I find it very interesting.
Great, and are you in Hanoi?
Yes, I am based in Hanoi.
Okay, great. Okay, Phong An or Alice?
Uh, Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well? You can call me Alice. It's my English name, and I'm 22. I'm from Ho Chi Minh City. And currently, in a gap year to explore myself. So I'm trying to explore myself through writing and trying to be a blogger as well as a runner.
Yeah, amazing. Excellent. Good gap year. It's always nice to go. I will warn you, I went for a gap year when I finished university and I never went back home. So it's been 18 years, I think. Oops. Okay, the Tanha.
Okay, so hello everyone. Can you hear me?
It's a little bit low.
Okay, so how about now?
Better, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so okay, so now you already know my name, but you can call me Mary. That's my English name. And I'm a fresh graduate. I just graduated from Western Sydney University, major international business. I'm currently looking for a job, so I decided to join this workshop and join this competition. It's just a way for me to pursue my dreams because I've always loved writing, especially creative writings. But public school in Vietnam is not encouraged much that kind of writing. So, so this is like my chance to live my dreams. So yeah, I really hope that for this workshop and for this competition, I can like step out of my comfort zone and actually like take the stories from my head to the papers and actually write it into a total stories. So yeah, really nice to meet all of you guys.
Yeah, excellent. I love to hear that. Okay. Can Bang?
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. I'm very glad to attend this, and I'm 19 years old. I'm currently I currently learn Germany and when I haven't gone to university. I'm having a gap year like Alice. Currently, I'm interested in poem on literature, especially poem. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Amazing. Kwang Min?
My name is Kwang Ming, and I am currently a year 10 or grade 9 in my school, and I'm just like the support today. So if you guys have any question, I'll try to answer. And for my literature journey, I just started because I just moved school, and now it's like a new subject taught. So far, it's been pretty interesting personally for me, and so as a supporter, I still want to see some good discussion throughout this meeting and perhaps like have some new like perspective within this meeting.
Yeah, great. Amazing. Okay, Annie.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah, my name is V in Vietnamese, and Annie is my English name. So I'm 22 and still a university student. So I based in Saigon. And now for me, writing is a great way to reconnect with myself, and it's helped me to ease the storm of emotion and other sentimental fragments in my head a lot. So that's why I love it very much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
amazing. It can be a way to create. It can also be a way to understand ourselves, right? When we're writing, we're really just like spilling our hearts and our minds out onto the page. Excellent. Okay, Win Min
Hi.
An?
My name is Minh Anh, and I'm 19 years old. I'm a first-year student at the University of Social Science and Humanities. Well, this is my university uniform. Well, I just got home a few minutes ago and joined this room because I didn't want to miss an interesting workshop. To be honest, take part in Legend in Ink to develop my writing skill as well as expand my knowledge and experience. Thank you.
Great. Okay, there was a rabbit here a moment ago. I think there's a few people that are here that do not have their screens on. Duke?
That is me.
Did you want to introduce yourself? Okay,
Hello,
hi
Miss
Duke.
Christine. Excuse me for using Miss still because it is in the Vietnamese tradition.
That's no problem.
So my name is Duke. I'm in Toronto.
Oh, I'm from Montreal.
I heard that from the beginning. I was like, oh, Miss Christine from Canada too. Well, I'm not from Canada, but I'm living here. So anyway, I'm 22 this year, and I'll save everyone the time and save everyone for my literature journey because I would say it's a long story. That's about it.
All right, and there's somebody that said that they cannot turn on their mic. That's okay. I'll keep an eye on the chat. So if you want to chat, write anything in. We're going to be doing some activities together, so you'll be able to contribute your answers. And if any of you are feeling like you want to share, but you're feeling a little bit daunted to say it, you're always welcome to use the chat as well. I prefer if we're all talking together, but of course, everybody has different levels of comfort. Okay, so I have a slideshow that I'm going to use for this workshop because we're on a computer, so I can make it look pretty. Usually it's just me in front of a whiteboard. So like this, it works a little bit better. So as with every Zoom session that exists, I'm going to make sure that you can see what I'm sharing. Can you see? Should be just a thing that says writing through. Everyone sees, perfect. All right, so Writing Through is an organization that's been around for over 10 years. And we started in Cambodia because we realized that in the school system, there's not much room for self-expression. There's not much of a foundation of creativity. And it's the same in Vietnam, especially in the public schools, where you're learning to pass exams a lot of the time, right? It's a lot of memorizing information and rote learning. And so we came in to do supplementary education so that we can work with people of all ages and try to help them develop these new ways of thinking and new ways of seeing the world, and using creative writing as a vehicle to do that. So we come in and we have a few unique rules. And these rules are different than you would have in your high school, in your university, in your workplace, but they're very important rules. So there's 4. The first rule of Writing Through and creative writing is don't think. And this might seem silly, it might seem counterintuitive, but there's a method to this madness. When you allow yourself to relax, you open your mind to so many more things. So my background is actually in psychology and neuroscience. And I always use this example. When you are trying to think of something, so for example, you meet somebody and you say, oh, I know his name. What's his name? Oh, it starts with an M. I'm sure, maybe Mark, Matt. Oh, what was it? And you get stuck and you just can't remember, right? But then maybe later on in the day, you're doing the dishes and all of a sudden you go, it's Steve, right? Because when you're thinking and you're trying to remember, you actually kind of block yourself out from all of the other options, right? All the other The second rule that is to use the back of your brain. Now, this is a bit of a metaphor in itself. The way that we describe it is that in the front of your brain, you have your everyday ideas that are valid, that are important and necessary. For example, what homework do I have to do? What will I make for dinner? Do I have to buy something from the shop? So important, but not the best things to write about creatively, right? We can start there because you'll often hear this from writers, write about what you know, right? We can start with no, and then go deeper. Okay, and for poems, when you're writing, sometimes you'll write something and we'll go, wow, that's really beautiful. Give me more, right? Give me some metaphors or some descriptions or something from the back of your brain. Go further. And that's not to say that what you've written is not wonderful, but it's just a way to push you to go just that little bit beyond. Rule number 3, is write with your ears. Sorry, I was just checking the chat. When we do this in the classroom, I always say, write with your ears. So you put your pencil in your ear and then you write like this, which of course is just a silly way to help people to relax a bit. When we say write with your ears, we mean that words have meaning, but they also have sound. So this is especially important in poems. When you're choosing the language that you use, listen to how it sounds. Because there's many words, especially in English, there's so many words that mean the same thing, but that fit a different rhythm. For example, what's another word for beautiful? In English?
Pretty?
Pretty.
Pardon
Yeah,
me?
I think that too.
Pretty?
Pretty.
Yeah, pretty. Any others?
Gorgeous.
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 Yeah, excellent. So I like this
Breathtaking.
example. Pardon me?
Breathtaking.
Breathtaking. Ooh, I like that. So they all can be used interchangeably, really, if you're talking about a beautiful view or a beautiful woman or something along those lines. But we can choose the one that best fits the sounds that we want in our poems. Because remember that poems are like songs, right? They can have their own rhythms, they can have their own beats. And so, for example, if in your poem it's very ta-ta, 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 ta-ta sounds, which of the words do you think you would use for beautiful?
May I ask, where does beautiful stand in that rhythm scheme?
Anywhere. It's just about the grand scheme as like a ta-ta, ta-ta, ta-ta.
I'd say
And-
magnificent.
Yeah, magnificent, sure.
Perhaps a short phrase like pretty?
Yeah, that's what stands out to me. But the beautiful thing about a poem is that anything goes, right? So what works for me might not work for you. And sometimes what makes poems special is when things don't go together, when they're almost opposite sounds. That can be really interesting too, right? Sometimes in a poem you can use onomatopoeia. Do you know what that is? Don't ask me to spell it. But an onomatopoeia is a word that sounds like the sound it's describing. So for example, clap, bang, pop. Right? So if you're talking about, your heart's beating fast, you feel nervous, well, why not put a boom, boom, boom in your poem if you want to, or lightning flashed and there was a crack in the sky. You can really put these sounds into your poems in really unique and interesting ways. And again, a poem is up to you. Poems are very free, and that's why they're so special and why they're so beautiful. So what sounds good to you is what's most important. And rule number 4 is the most important rule of all. There are no mistakes. You cannot be wrong in writing a poem. Now, of course, you're writing for a competition. So that makes it a little bit different because somebody will be reading it and judging it. But as long as you like what you did, then it's amazing. Then it's a winner, right? Do it for yourself. A prize would be nice. We all like getting prizes, but really it's about the experience and about what you're putting into it, and that's what you're going to get out of it. So how many of you have written poems before?
With me,
Yeah? In school or for yourself?
I write it I wrote it when I have free time before, but just one. And I feel, and personally, I feel like stuck.
You feel stuck? You don't know what else to write?
It's not good enough for me.
Okay. Remember, like sometimes we're our biggest critics, right? And sometimes it's hard because we know what we want it to be, but we don't know how to make it into that. So that can be really difficult. Anybody else has written poems?
I wrote one poem once back in
Yeah.
high school. Yeah, it's for my class. I actually wrote that for my class because it was my first day of high school. So I wrote it as a gift to, welcome a new class. So yeah, I think I quite satisfied with that poem. But when I wrote it, I found it's very difficult to make the poem rhyme, to find the correct word to make it rhyme and to actually make each line in the poem make sense. And it like makes sense, make it sound beautiful, make it rhyme. So it's really hard to write it down.
Yeah, I can imagine if you're trying to get it perfectly rhyming and get everything together, that makes it difficult. Was that in English or Vietnamese?
It's Vietnamese. It's a
Vietnamese.
traditional kind of poem of Vietnamese.
Ah, okay. Well, this is actually one of the reasons why in our workshops in Cambodia and Vietnam, we usually ask the students to write in English. And one of the reasons is because the traditional styles of poems are very strict. Is it the same in Vietnamese that the poems, they have to rhyme in a certain way, they have to be a certain number of lines?
Yes. I choose like the easiest traditional style, but it's still very hard. It would be easier if I wrote it in like freestyles, but yeah, I want to make something like traditional. So
Yeah, in English poems, we often do freestyle. So there are as well so many different traditional types that you can do, but it's always a nice idea to just write it however makes you happy. And I think for this poetry competition, you don't have to do a certain style, right? You can write any kind of poem you'd like.
yeah, you can write any style if you like.
Is that right? Okay. Okay, so, Alice said her first poem was for her crush. So very romantic. Did you give it to your crush or you just wrote it for them?
Okay.
Yeah, did you give it to your crush?
Yep, I sent it to my crush, but he read and he reviews. Oh,
Well, now you can write an even better poem about how you don't need him in your life.
that's
How much he missed out. But that's very brave to write a poem to your crush. My favorite poem that I've written is about my wedding. And I've read it at a few different poetry events. And whenever my husband is there, I turn really red because it's about us together. So people like that, though. They think it's cute. So there's lots of different ways that you can use them. But all of this is to get us into our next point, which is, what is a poem? Can you tell me what's a poem?
I think you would like the answer that anything you consider to be a poem is a poem.
Could be. What would you consider to be a poem that would make it a poem?
Well, I prefer it to have rhythm and rhymes. And I have a set of romantic interests that as long as I write one for them, then I consider that a poem. Well, as long as I write one for them and I consider them to be a ripened fruit, then I'll consider that a poem.
Okay, so you're more romantic in your poetry.
Yes, I wouldn't
Yeah?
deny that.
Okay, great. All right, so rhymes and rhythms, that often comes up when we're talking about poems, right? Does everyone know what a rhyme is? Just in case anyone doesn't, it's when the end of the sound of the word is the same. So very simple, easy examples are cat, fat, hat, mat, right? They end with the same sound. And so in some poems, they'll have the last word of each line rhymes. So maybe in couplets. So the first and the second rhyme, and then the third and the fourth rhyme, and then the fifth and the sixth. That's one way to do it. Sometimes they have the first line rhymes with the third, and the fifth, and the seventh. It's up to you how you do that. There's different names for the different styles, but it's really a personal choice in an open contest like this. And when we talk about rhythm, that's also often found in poetry as well. So poems are pretty much like songs, right? It's the same idea. It's like song lyrics are a poem. So often you'll have a rhythm to make them fit into the way they want the poem to sound. And the best way to measure rhythm is through beats, right? Do you know what the beats are in words? Syllables. So syllables are how many vowels are in a word, and that acts as the beat. So for my name, for example, it's Kristen. There's 2 beats. So in some poetry, like haikus, for example, there's very specific amounts of syllables per line. And you can do that if you'd like. You don't need to do that. And that's the beautiful thing about poems, because there is no, this is what the answer is. It could be like that, or it could not be like that. Does anybody else have a feeling? What is a poem? What does it mean to you?
So to me, like poem is like you draw a picture with words and it rhymes. So to me, it's poem. Well, freestyle poems doesn't need to rhyme. So yeah, we can put it aside. So when you draw a picture with words, it can be a poem. Or when you sing a song or with add the beat, it can be a poem too. Sometimes.
I love that description. So I actually use that description. I say it's like a photograph with words. So you're creating this scene that the people who are reading or listening to your poem, they feel like they're there. It's like they're experiencing it. Amazing. I love that. What are they usually about? What kinds of things can you write about in a poem?
Well, words can be anything. Well, mostly love and romantic things, but it can be about friendship, can be about a relationship between family members. Yeah, but most of the poems I read back in my high school days are romantic. Like they're all about romantic things. I don't know why, but my university entrance exam, like in Vietnam, we take the university entrance exams to graduate from high school and to go to the university. Yeah, I was asked to analyze a romantic poem.
side, right? And so we can write about what we witness or how we feel and make sure that we're including all of those emotions in there. I love it. A lot of poems are very descriptive, right? We can write poems about beautiful environments, beautiful scenes, places we've been, places that are important to us, people that are important to us, and why. Okay. Duke wrote, if it can only be felt, can others feel the same thing you feel? Well, that's an interesting question, because when we're writing a poem, are we writing it for ourselves? Are we writing it for others? Do we write it because we want others to understand us better? Or do we just want to write it to be cathartic? Cathartic is when we just want to get something out, right? Sometimes when you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, by writing it out and putting it into the world, it can help you feel a bit of relief, release, right? So it's very interesting. And the beauty about poems is that there's no right or wrong answers. It's very abstract. It's what means something to you. So, yeah, okay, I got the chat. So in poems, do you have to use full sentences with good grammar? No. You can have just random words in there. You can have sounds. You can have one line that is a full sentence, and then the next line is 2 adjectives. You don't need full sentences. One thing that we usually encourage is for poems, you don't want to write in like full paragraphs, right? You want to make it kind of lines connected. And then if you want to have different ideas that are not as connected, you can use stanzas. So a stanza is like a paragraph in a poem where you have your lines grouped together, and then you have a pause, and then the next group of lines. So you can use that. You don't need to use that. It's up to you. Again, the beauty of poetry. There's no limits. And often people will ask, how long should a poem be? Some of the best poems are 2 lines, right? Then there's epic poems that are entire books. So however it feels finished is when you're finished. And it doesn't have to fit into some kind of guidelines, unless for the contest it does. Check those guidelines for the contest. Okay. So now we're going to get into some of the tools that we use for writing. And these are tools that you can use for writing poetry, writing stories. It's probably one of the best ways to just get your ideas flowing when you're using our strategies like not thinking too hard. So, a brainstorm. Have any of you ever used a brainstorm before? Yeah?
Yes,
A lot.
I use it in my community class to have idea for my speaking.
Yeah, great. So what's a brainstorm? Who can explain it? Okay, we'll break it down. Duke? Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I have a question about brainstorming. Are we supposed to think when we're brainstorming though?
I mean, I don't think that you need to really think, which sounds silly.
Then that answers my question, because I was going to ask, are you supposed to think when you brainstorm, which go against the first rule of do not think?
So the way that a brainstorm should work is, and we're going to brainstorm together because it's fun. And it's a great way to get prepared for writing. I like to use Socratic questioning. So that means that we're going to start without really thinking. We're going to look at an image and you're going to tell me what you see. And that doesn't take a lot of thought. That doesn't take a lot of conscious effort. It's just, here's what's coming into my eyes. And then I'm going to ask you questions and we're going to get a little bit more involved, a little bit deeper. But the idea is that you're not trying to think too hard. You're not trying to find the perfect answer. You're sharing any answers that pop into your head. That's what we mean when we say don't think. You're not closing yourself off to the possibilities by focusing on one thing. You're opening up and just letting everything come out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have to think. We're all humans. Of course, we're thinking all of the time. But the idea is we're just not thinking too hard and not pressuring ourselves, because that's when we get stuck. And you'll find a lot of writers who, when they have something that they're taking part in, like a competition, they get writer's block and they can't write because they're so stuck on the ideas that it has to be perfect that they basically just paralyze themselves. So by relaxing and letting the ideas flow, you get past that roadblock. Okay. Okay, so Alice in the chat said that brainstorm, come up with ideas related to the topic or what we think that's interesting. Yeah, for sure. So the traditional way we might think of a brainstorm is somebody writing down a word on a piece of paper and then just writing words all around it. And that's the way that a lot of people do it. So generally you need a topic, an idea, a theme, whatever it may be, and then you just let things come out. You kind of like explode them onto the paper. So by the way the word is made up, if we think of our brain, of course, that's where our ideas, our thoughts are. And then we think of a storm, right? And in a storm, you have rain and wind and thunder, lightning, all these things coming from all different directions. And that's what it should look like in our brains. All of those ideas just flying around and we're kind of going, oop, 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 and kind of picking them up as they're flying, right? Like if the big branch is flying by in a storm, you're going, oop, let me get that. And it's amazing what can come out. So we're going to practice with brainstorming. And for that, for our theme for the brainstorming and what we're going to focus our writing on today is going to be related to this project. It's going to be about legacy. So what does legacy mean to you? What do you want your legacy to be? Okay. So we're going to put all of that together, and I have some pictures that are going to be used as prompts for our brainstorm. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and I'm going to, and I'm glad that you like the word when we, right? Because we learned the word as brainstorm, we might not think of the different elements that go into it. But I'm going to ask one of the Legacy and Ink team members to share the screen of the first prompt, and I'm going to be writing down notes for our brainstorm. So when you see this picture, what do you see? What's in this picture to start? So you can all unmute yourselves and just share. You don't have to worry about putting hands up or any of that. So what do you see?
We're giving
God
someone a number.
handing,
Pardon me?
oh, I guess I'll go then. God handing the key of the secrets of universe to humans, but we don't accept it.
Okay. So we're starting in very metaphorical here. What does anybody else see?
Like the give and take action.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get even more surface level. What is this a picture of?
I want to add something for Annie's opinion that there's a key and give and take a key. The key I think is the way the thing that people are empowered to be open their work, to explore and to create something.
Great. Wow, you guys are lots of big ideas already. Okay, who are these people?
I think it's the older one give the key to the younger one.
How do you know one's older, one's younger?
Seeing the wrinkle in their head.
Wrinkles, yeah.
Yeah.
What else do you see in their hands? How can you describe those hands?
I see the hands, they describe the attitude of the sender and the receiver. Like the receiver, they're really respectful with the key they are received.
Yeah, sure. How can you describe the key? What does the key look like? Is that how your moto key looks?
Antique.
Antique, yeah. What other
Bronze,
ways can you
metal,
describe it?
heavy.
Metal, heavy. You say bronze?
I say bronze, yes.
Bronze, okay.
Is that a type of key to open a chest of treasure I saw in the movies?
Yeah, it could be a key for a treasure chest. Why not? Add some fantasy in there, get some excitement. Love it. Okay, so what do you think this picture would have to do with legacy?
The passing down of the older generations to the younger ones. And if we look at their hands, the older generation is holding up, assuming that they are not really wanting to give away the key, because otherwise the palm will be facing down or you're handing someone something. And the younger generation's hand, their fingers closed, their palms closed, hesitant but willing, or can't deny the keys handing upon them, must take it eventually. But as we can see, the key hasn't been delivered yet. So in the moment between the passing, we don't know whether the keys is actually handed down. And the key might be like the ring, be forever lost.
Is that from Lord of the Rings, or is there another ring
That
story?
is Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Hey, great. Wow, that's some analysis of that picture. Anybody else?
I think it's like being guided, or a new path is opening to the younger one, and a new opportunity to try. It depends on the receiver. Yeah, that's my idea.
Love it. Anybody else? Let's go. So I asked to start very simple and everybody went really deep, really quickly. I love it. So when we're looking at images like this, you guys did a great job. We're trying to imagine, okay, this is what we see. Here's how it relates to legacy. And here's how it relates to the bigger world in general, right? And then we can also say, how does this relate to us? We can think of times where you've had something passed from your parents or grandparents, whether that's a physical thing like the key, or knowledge, or family history, right? There's so much that comes into legacy. It's such an abstract concept. That's why I love it as a theme. Okay, can we please go to the next image? Okay, so what do you see here? You don't have to start deep. Just don't think. Tell me, what do you see? What's in the picture?
Like a crack and a plant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
land growing out of a cracks on the cement walls or street.
What colors do you see?
Gray and green.
Yeah, it's really only two colors, and really that green really pops, right? Because everything else is gray and boring, and then there's just this beautiful green color. So what happened to this plant? How did it come to be in this sea of cement? Do you think it was easy to grow out of that, or difficult?
I think it's difficult for a tree to grow from these cracks because there's not enough things for tree. I mean, it's not comfort for a tree to grow.
Yeah, great. Anybody else?
I think it's the like you said is a color. It's very impressive to me because it's like the plants has bring more color to the picture.
Yeah. Can you think of a situation in your life where you feel like that plant?
I think everybody can has experienced this one when they it can be about the courage to speak their mind or more motivates people with their own color, unique color.
Yeah,
And
amazing.
and I think it's more about the it's more about whether if they are ready to bring more chance for life and for the environment around.
Great. Anybody else? Can you think of or remember a time where you felt like that, where you're kind of breaking free from something that was not exciting, that was boring or normal?
May I play the devil advocate here?
Yeah.
I would digress. I would say that this is not a breaking free from the difficulties of life. I would say this is the natural of things. Because a plant, no matter what happens to it, it must grow. For this plant here, unfortunately, it was planted in the seas of concrete. It will never grow to be a great oak, nor it doesn't have to be. It is a plant providing green in a gray sea of concrete. And boy, I like the idea that you are living to be what you are living to be for. A plant lives to grow, thriving for sunlight, It will die, but everything will die. Even the gray concrete bed that is growing on did crack, and therefore from that's the plant stem from. Everything will die. But if you get to live to be what you are ought to be, born for, that is one life I wouldn't trade for anything. It's just natural for the plants to grow. I don't think there's any difficulty there at all.
Okay, great. Whew.
May I share?
Yes, please.
This picture is, I think, describes a cheese which overcome the lack of space and nutrition, and it grow well. It remind me to people who had difficult circumstances but overcame their fate to achieve success in their life. And I'm really sympathize with them, and I also want to become one of them to have power to uh, well to overcome my difficult.
Beautiful. I think for most of us, we've had experiences in our lives that are challenging, or we don't feel like we can get out and become who we want to be, but pushing through. Yeah, I like the idea of overcoming, right? And I know for a lot of us, that could be from teachers that don't understand us, or from jobs we have that we're not feeling stimulated. So there's so many different ways that that can be interpreted. And how can we bring this picture back to legacy? So the first one was a little bit more on the nose. This one a little bit more abstract. What do you think?
Well, everyone's being real quiet.
It's okay.
I think it's because it's an abstract in the picture, and abstract idea to think of. Some I think you wanna ask us like how we link this picture to the word legacy, right? There's well, I think
Yeah, take your time. It doesn't need to be like this is one of those, like I said, the Socratic questioning. We get kind of deeper and deeper and deeper into the last one is kind of sometimes a little bit harder to think of a quick answer. So I don't mind waiting a bit.
So I think so. Here just my thing, okay? It's my thought, okay? So some legacy is different from the first picture. The first picture is to pass along the legacy. It's something that you can keep going and develop it. Maybe you can use it to open up new opportunities, but you can still use old things. But for example, like this picture, you know, the old thing doesn't work anymore. So it's like a cement wall or street, like you have to break it out of it just to grow, continue to grow and break new things. So yeah, I think there's two types about legacy.
Yeah. Duke, you're being too literal here. Remember, it doesn't mean you're turning your brain off, just means don't think too hard. So sometimes to take your time and to let ideas flow, it still works with rule number 1.
I mean, everyone laughed, so the point was to be comedic, right? So I don't see.
I mean,
no worries, no worries.
Now.
It's always a hard balance between getting answers and letting people have space to kind of contemplate. Anybody else have an idea? speak about legacy to anybody else? It might not. It might, for you, you might be like, I don't see it. I don't see the connection. That's fine too. I choose the pictures, so they have a connection for me, but maybe not as much for you.
So I'm thinking of like the two ways to interpret legacy out of this picture. The first one, if I'm continue to go with the flow, that is a overcoming things, like overcoming the difficulties that the picture want to convey. So I would think that the way we overcome all of the difficulties we encounter in our life to reach the level of life that we think we satisfy with ourselves. So I think it can be understood that is a kind of legacy that we make our on our own self, and we can also use that like storytelling things that we can instruct our our kids, our grandchildren to follow our footsteps to make something like more significant to their life, something like that. Yeah. And another thing that I like that come up to my mind is about the environmental aspect. Like I think this picture, if we see it in the environmental aspect, we can say that it's like a reminder of the importance of the real legacy that the like human should restore and pass it to the next generation rather than destroy all of the forests and all of the natural resources that we have left to industrialization or economical development. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, definitely. Did you hear there was a big earthquake today in Bangkok and Myanmar?
Yeah.
Crazy. That doesn't happen here. All these things are happening. Whew. Scary stuff. But yeah, that's a really, really good point, right? This can be about the legacy of what are we handing to the next generations? Is it just a concrete world, or is there still natural life and trees and plants? Great idea. Love that. So for me, one of the reasons I chose this picture was because we have the plant kind of pushing through, but it's not just one spot where it comes out, it cracks. The crack kind of spreads. So it's almost like it's creating this opening for other plants to grow. Right, so that's why it stood out for me. But it's really interesting how we can see the same image, but we interpret it in different ways because of what's most important to us and what's at the front of our brains ready to grab onto something. Okay, so we'll do one more quick picture because you guys have so many good ideas that I want to make sure we have enough time to write. So can we move to the next picture, please? Okay, legacy. This one's for you guys. So what do you see? Just don't think now. Just tell me, what do you see? What's in the picture? What's in the picture of? Who's there?
For this picture, I can see that even with the most normal thing, it still has beauty on it if we can see it and recognize.
Okay, so Annie said a street vendor. Yeah, a crowded street.
Just sometimes the beauty lie in the in everything around.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Annie also said traditional and modern. So what aspects of this picture are traditional and what is modern?
Maybe the woman with the traditional clothes up the southern people and the thing she's hang she's whole. Yeah. And the background with with car, yeah, and transportation is the symbol for modernization, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we had the transportation. Yeah, different ways that people get around.
I saw the daily life of Vietnamese people, and adventures is a mother with a load of gold on her back, and she worked resolutely. And I thought that shipment was not only the living expense of her family, but also the dream of her children.
They said mother walking with, you said gold on her back? You said, sorry, what was it? You said mother walking with what on her back?
Wait me, I'm typing.
Oh, okay. No, because I know you didn't say like walking with fruit. You had a nice metaphor there, but I didn't quite hear it. I want to make sure I get it correct. Lots of goods.
Sorry,
Yeah, I
because
think,
I don't really know what word translate in English.
yeah, that's fine. I'm an English native speaker and I don't find the words sometimes. Okay, so that's the first talk about legacy, right? Where she's working hard to fulfill the dreams of her children, right? What do you feel about your own legacy being Vietnamese, seeing pictures like this where you have old things, new things all mixed together? Some of you are studying abroad, right? And so your Vietnamese values and traditions, how does that fit when you're traveling the world and studying in different countries?
Well, I feel called out, so I guess I'll speak up.
It wasn't
Um,
only you. Somebody just graduated from Sydney University.
well, yes, but that's why I said I feel called out. I just feel called out, so I speak up. Well, it's a complicated story because I was 15, right? And you don't bring a lot of Vietnamese with so my legacy is complicated. It's also open a possibility for redemption, which I gotta say, I'm looking forward to that. But until I earn that, then disappointment.
Yeah, it's hard for people when they leave their home country to go and get more opportunities, and they feel like sometimes there's that feeling of abandonment of like, am I leaving these things behind? But it doesn't have to be like that. It could be that you're going to gain more that then helps you to share with what you've left behind. You're right, it's a very complex thing.
I gotta agree. I look forward to globalizations for that too, because, well, if everywhere is my home, I don't betray anyone.
Yeah. So anyone who has other feelings while they're in Vietnam that maybe has something that else that it makes them feel, or that agrees? How can you continue to hold the traditions whilst you're in this globalizational modern world? You have McDonald's in Ho Chi Minh City now. Come on, crazy.
Okay, so
When I lived in Hanoi, there was no McDonald's in Vietnam.
effort that you just have a good song and you enjoy it, and boom, you got like you introduce your traditional um values and stories and heritage to the world. And sometimes it's just that easy. You don't need much effort. It's just a good song, and now everyone's obsessed about it. And yeah.
No, that's great. The same is happening in Cambodia. There's a very popular rapper that does all of these songs, and they're so good. I love them. But it's getting, when I used to teach at a high school, my students only listened to K-pop. They didn't listen to any Cambodian music. And now they love Cambodian music. And I think it's something love Vietnamese food. Okay, so you guys are amazing. These are all such interesting, creative ideas. And what's really nice with the brainstorm is that not only does it give you this list of stuff, so I'll share with you the document that I've been writing. Copy the link. And you can look through it. It doesn't have to be now, but you can look through and see some of the concepts that came up. And they can inspire you for your poems that you write. So can we stop sharing the screen, please? Okay, there we go. So we've been talking for a long time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to write a group poem. So this is something a little bit and you've probably not done something like this before, because usually a poem is a very personal thing, right? We're usually sharing our deepest emotions. There's something powerful about writing together where we're able to explore this concept and work with each other's strengths and help each other. So let me. And just before we do that, I'll just very quickly. There we go. So a few literary devices that I really encourage put in their poems is metaphors and similes. If you don't know what those are, basically it's ways that we compare things. So for example, if I want to describe someone as very beautiful, I could say they're beautiful, or I could say, what's something that is beautiful in the world? What's the most beautiful thing you can think of?
Fairy. Flower. Yeah.
Fairy? Flower? Sure. So I could say my mom is beautiful, or I could say my mom is a flower. That's a metaphor. Or I could say my mom is beautiful like a flower, or as beautiful as a flower. That's a simile. Okay? Make your own. Don't choose the one that you learned in school when you were studying language. There is no better example of creativity than someone who can create their own metaphor or simile out of nowhere. It's always the most powerful thing. It's also powerful in your poems to add additional senses. We always talk about what we see, right? How things look. But often we don't include the sounds that we hear, or the smells, or the tastes, or the feelings that go along with that, which really help to kind of make it more multidimensional instead of just, it's beautiful, I see this pretty thing. Okay. So especially if you get caught, if you write out your poem and you're like, what else can I add to make this more rich? Senses, additional senses will do it. Okay. So for our poem, like I said, we only have a short time because you guys were so engaging in the brainstorming. When we write a poem, the best way to start writing is to start writing. So think of those images that we looked through. Think of the feelings that came out. What does legacy mean to you? And then take a moment if you need and give me the first line of the poem. We just need one person to be brave. And it's easy to change. We can always move things around. We can take things out, add things in. There's no mistakes.
I'm very confused.
So-
How are we supposed to be writing this? Are we just...
You're telling me and I'm writing it.
Oh, okay. Well,
Or you type it in the chat and I write it in.
I see. Well, somebody got to start. That's my line.
That's your first line?
Yes.
So somebody has got to start?
Got to start.
Gotta start. Okay, what's our next line?
I'm very used to writing poem in English, actually.
That's okay.
It can be anything or
Anything. We're trying to stay with the theme of legacy. And even if you just have an idea, we can shape it into a line if you're not sure exactly how to put it in. It doesn't need to rhyme. It can rhyme if you'd like. This is just for somebody else to follow. Is that the next line, Annie? I like that. So it's good. Is that in reaction to the line, or is that our next line?
No, I just react to Andy's line. because it's gonna be so not so make sense if for somebody else to follow. It's good.
Okay. So what I always like to do, oh, Annie's got the next one. Somebody got a break. So somebody got to start for somebody else to follow. Somebody got a break. All right, so now what's emerging in this poem already? Ooh, okay, we got our next line. For everyone to grow. Amazing. I was gonna say there's a bit of a pattern emerging, right? So we had that somebody first and then for, and then somebody and then for. So that's a really interesting way to build it. So what we can do now, do we want to keep it at these 4 lines and then start a new stanza, or do we want to continue?
As the person who started, I feel like I would like to keep it flowing.
Okay. And it's very easy to edit. So if we change our mind later, then we change it. Ooh, okay, so Alice. The first cracks of the frozen heart. Beautiful.
To justify myself.
To what, sorry?
To satisfy myself.
To satisfy myself. Beautiful. I want to get something from everybody. So if you haven't shared yet, feel free to add it in the chat if you feel a little bit nervous to say it. Oh, I see one. Okay. Will be the place for light to come in. Beautiful. Okay. So what I always like to do when I'm writing a poem is that I go back to the start, I read it, and I listen, right? Because we're writing with our ears. And when we listen, it can tell us, okay, do we want to change something, move something, what comes next? So somebody got to start for somebody else to follow. Somebody got a break for everyone to grow. The first cracks of the frozen heart to satisfy myself will be the place for light to come in, but also sorrow and pain. Beautiful. Look at you guys. Amazing. This is a really nice poem. I like it. Okay, so we got, ooh, what will we gain? So you have a bit of a rhyme there. Somebody gives their hands. Oh, sorry. You can see the wheels turning. Okay, to those diving in darkness. Wow. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to read it from the top again. So listen and see if there's anything you want to change, add, move around. If it finishes and you're like, that's the end of the poem, that's where we stop, then that works too. It's your poem, you tell me. Okay. Somebody got to start for somebody else to follow. Somebody got to break for everyone to grow. The first cracks of the frozen heart to satisfy myself will be the place for light to come in, but also sorrow and pain. What will we gain? Somebody gives their hands to those diving in darkness. Find their voice. A heartfelt connection. A memory I have shed. Sing a song with people. All right, I'm just gonna make another call. What will truly be mine? It's very different writing with other people, right? Because you might have one way that you're thinking and then it goes a different way. So it helps us to be more flexible and react to what's coming to us. All right, should we start coming up with how we're going to end the poem?
Actually, I have no more ideas.
No more ideas? Okay, Annie gave the longing or oblivion with a question mark. Beautiful. Okay, does anybody want to add anything? Do we think it's finished? What do you think? Weak transitions but strong meaning? Is that describing the poem, or do you want to add that line? Is that the next line in the poem?
Next line.
Next line? Okay. I wasn't sure if you were critiquing the poem. But strong meaning. Okay, I'm going to read it again. This is my favorite exercise. Listen and see what speaks to you. Somebody got to start for somebody else to follow. Somebody got to break for everyone to grow. The first cracks of the frozen heart to satisfy myself will be the place for light to come in, but also sorrow and pain. What will we gain? Somebody gives their hands to those diving in darkness. Find their voice, a heartfelt connection, a memory I have shed. Sing a song with people. What will truly be mine? Belonging or oblivion? Weak transitions, but strong meaning. So are we finished the poem? Is that the end? It's your poem, you decide.
I think we should end.
Should end? Okay, yeah, I know it's already 9:30. Oh, okay. So we have one more line. With fragment, with gathering. I like that. A goodbye to my old self. Oh, that's a great ending. With goodbye and everything. Ooh. Beautiful. Okay, so now, sorry, I hope it's okay to stay an extra like 5 minutes. If anybody cannot stay, totally fine. We just need a title. So if you have an idea for a title, we usually don't want titles to be super long, but we also don't need it to be one word. It can be a short phrase, a few words. If you have an idea, put it in the chat. And then once we have a couple of ideas, we're going to vote for which one is our favorite. Okay, the beauty of a poem title is that it can have absolutely nothing to do with the poem if you want. Or you can pull something from it. It can be about your lunch today. Whatever you want. Somebody or me. Ooh. Nice. Okay, so we have one idea. Anybody else? Finding? Oh, finding me? Finding. Okay. Ooh, those are similar. Okay, is that everybody? Were there any others? If you were typing something, put your hand up if I... Okay, reflection, Annie. Okay, so now we can vote. So vote for your favorite one with the heart emoji. We'll count which one has the most. Easy voting. So we have somebody or me, finding me, and reflection, and finding, sorry, 4 options. Okay, so I have 8 votes. How many people are there? 1, 2, 3. Oh, it was really, really, really close. Has everybody voted? Okay, so our winner is somebody or me. Yay. Amazing. This is such a beautiful, oh no, wait, reflection just got 4 too. Okay. All right, so.
We can use the first come, first serve rule, so just go with somebody army. I think so.
Okay. How about combining? Yeah, we can combine. So reflections of somebody or me. reflection, somebody or me? Yeah, why not? Is that okay? All right. Sorry, I've gone a little bit over our time, and I know you must all be tired because it's so late. But this was amazing. I really, really enjoyed working with you guys. I know it might not be what you're used to as a normal poetry workshop, but really what I was trying to teach you is ways that you can get those words flowing and those ideas flowing, and to push yourself into a different direction than you may have started at. So I'm going to, for the Legacy and Ink team, please feel free to share the presentation with everybody who's here. I have a lot more prompts that I think can fit in really abstract and unique ways with Legacy that you can use as inspiration when you're writing your poems. And the group poem is there, the brainstorm is there. So you have some different ideas that you can come back to. But you are all really talented and you have amazing ideas and you are already amazing writers. So use this as a way to just feel like it's fun. Keep those rules in mind. Don't make it something where you're killing yourself to write something perfect. Okay, sometimes what doesn't feel right to you, if you put it down on paper, the right idea will come. And we need those steps to get to that, something that makes us happy. So don't be afraid if it doesn't feel right in the beginning. You'll get there. Okay, so thank you all so much. If you need my contact or you want my contact, you can ask the guys from Legacy and Ink, and please feel free to share with everybody. And good luck in your competition. You're going to be amazing. And now go to sleep, it's late, or it's Friday night, go party, whatever you're going to do. Thank you guys so much. I really enjoyed this.
Okay, thank you, Miss. Thank you for your participation and also your collaboration with us today. It was a very amazing workshop, Miss. Thank you. Và cũng như cảm ơn mọi người vì đã tham gia buổi workshop ngày hôm nay. Mặc dù cũng chỉ có 90 phút thôi. It was only 90 minutes. I wish I could be longer. But thực sự là buổi workshop này cũng không ngắn hay cũng không dài, nhưng mà Legacy Linh mong rằng là chúng ta đã có thể học và rút ra được những suy nghĩ cũng như là chiêm nghiệm thú vị qua buổi hội thảo với chia sẻ của cô Christine của chúng ta. Và Legacy Linh chúc cho mọi người sẽ thật thuận lợi trong quá trình viết lách của chính mình, enjoy quá trình tìm hiểu bản thân qua những câu chữ này, và chúng ta sẽ cùng có những khoảng thời gian viết lách thật tuyệt vời nhé mọi người. Và ngoài ra nếu có bất kỳ câu hỏi nào thì một xíu nữa Legacy Linh sẽ gửi cho mọi người contact email của cô Christine để có thể, nếu mọi người có những cái feedback cũng như câu hỏi thì feel free là sẽ chia sẻ với cô Christine. Thì if there's any feedback and questions, feel free to ask Miss Christine, guys, everyone. And một lần nữa
and
cảm ơn mọi người.
I'll send one of my poems over. I don't have it ready right now to send, but I can send it through the Legacy and Ink. The one about my wedding, my favorite poem.
It will be very interesting, Miss. I'm very excited to read it.
Yeah. Okay, so we take a picture, right?
Yeah, I think we should take a picture.
We're doing Vietnamese style?
Yeah, the có mình hỗ
Just
trợ.
everyone camera, and then we're going to take a group picture now. And thank you guys. It's done.
Okay. All right, thank you all so much. Goodbye.
Mọi người vì đã dành chút thời gian của ngày làm việc cuối cùng nhá. Chúc mọi người buổi tối vui vẻ và hẹn gặp lại trong workshop lần sau nhé. Bye bye.
Cảm ơn ban tổ chức. Bye bye mọi người.
Chúc mọi người buổi tối vui vẻ nha. Bye bye.
Hello. Hello Hưng.
Chị